rocks. You got rocks and a slingshot, and you about to go fight this man that is 9 feet tall. Ain't no telling how many pounds. Got so much bronze armor on him. You gonna fight him with stones? Hola mi gente, welcome to another video. My name is Ty. If you're new here, hello. My name is Ty, and on this part of my channel, we do Bible study / Bible stories, where I spill the tea, but the tea is coming from the Bible. Period. It's too boring. All of that Bible, baby. The Bible be having that tea, that good tea. Okay, be having that good. Okay, and I'm just here to share it with y'all. Period. Before we get into anything, do not forget to like, comment, subscribe to my channel. I'll turn on my post notifications so that you will be notified when I post another video. And follow me on all of my social medias. I am currently on, I have Instagram, I have TikTok, I have Lemonade, I have Threads. That's 4 right there, in addition to YouTube. But that's 4 different things right there that you can be following me on, but that you're not following me on. So go over there and follow me on that. Thank you very much. So, today's Bible story, actually one of my favorite ones. Today we talking about David and Goliath. Now, everybody know about David and Goliath. Everybody know how big David came up in that thing. And it's crazy because he wasn't even big David. He was little David. Defeated a 9-foot giant. And then not only did he kill him with a stone, but he actually chopped his head off. Okay, little David was not playing. If you want to hear a little bit more, if you want to hear the actual in-depth about who David is and Goliath and how they came to, why they had beef and how they ended up, squabbling it up, keep on watching because I'm going to tell y'all. Like last night when I read 1 Samuel 16 through 20. But I think David and Goliath story is mainly you can do 1 Samuel 16 through like 18, I think. It's really like 16 and 17. So, this is the tea, right? So, the Lord had rejected Saul as king. Because Saul was originally king. He was supposed to be king. But the Lord rejected him because, he's had a lot going on, right? So, the Lord sent Samuel. The people basically had came to Samuel because they wanted Samuel to appoint a king over Israel. Because they felt like Samuel's 2 sons weren't doing what needed to be done properly, right? So they was like, you need to appoint us a king. Samuel went to God and was like, they talk about appoint them a king, like what you mean? And you know what I'm saying, basically Samuel ended up appointing a king over Israel, which was Saul, right? But then the Lord ended up rejecting Saul as king over Israel because Saul, the Lord just didn't feel like Saul was the right one. He had already told Samuel to tell Israel, if y'all get a king, these are the things you're going to have to deal with. Just know, this is your warning, right? But the people still wanted the king, so, yeah. So, the Lord sent Samuel to go to find a new king, to appoint a new king over Israel. So, this is where we are in 1 Samuel chapter 16, right? It says Samuel goes to Bethlehem. Okay, so when the Lord sent Samuel to Bethlehem to go, anoint a king, he made sure he told Samuel not to focus on outer appearance. Don't try to appoint a king based off what you feel like a king should look like. Because the Lord said in 1 Samuel 16:7, God sees not as man sees, for man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. So the Lord was like, listen, when you go and appoint this king, don't get too tied up on what he looks like on the outside, because the Lord sees his heart. So the Lord will tell you who to appoint as the king, basically. Samuel, he went, he met Jesse and all of Jesse's sons, and Jesse had some sons for real, he had some big man team on his sons. Jesse lined up his sons for Samuel to look at to see who he would appoint king, and Samuel was like, none of these are fit, none of these are who the Lord wants to be king. So Samuel asked Jesse, he was like, are these all of your sons? Is this it? And Jesse was like, no, like I have my youngest son, but he's just a boy, and he's a shepherd, like he's tending the flock right now. You know what I'm saying? And Samuel was like, go get him. We not finna sit down and have dinner until he's up in here, right? So, if we go down a little bit, 1 Samuel 16:12, it says, so he sent and brought him in. So now he was ruddy, with beautiful eyes and a handsome appearance. And the Lord said, arise, anoint him, for this is he. So he was a little cute. He was a little cute. And they had tried to tell him, they was like, he's just a boy. You know what I'm saying? But the Lord was like, no. I don't care how he looked to y'all. He gonna be the next king of Israel. And Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him in the midst of his brothers. And the Spirit of the Lord came mightily upon David from that day forward. So from that day forward, the Spirit of the Lord was on David heavy. Okay? Now it says, now the Spirit of the Lord departed from Saul, and an evil spirit from the Lord terrorized Saul. Saul's servants then said to him, behold, now an evil spirit from God is terrorizing you. Let our Lord now command your servants who are before you. Let them seek a man who is a skillful player on the harp. And it shall come about when the evil spirit from God is on you, that he shall play the harp with his hand, and you will be well. So Saul said to his servants, provide for me a man who can play well, and bring him to me. Then one of the young men said, behold, I have seen the son of Jesse, the Bethlehemite, who is a skillful musician, a mighty man in valor, a warrior, one prudent in speech, and a handsome man. And the Lord is with him. So Saul sent messengers to Jesse and said, send me your son David, who is with the flock. Jesse took a donkey loaded with bread and a jug of wine and a young goat, and sent them to Saul by David his son. Then David came to Saul and attended him, and Saul loved him greatly, and he became his armor bearer. Saul sent to Jesse, saying, let David now stand before me, for he has found favor in my sight. So it came about, whenever the evil spirit from God came to Saul, David would take the harp and play it with his hand, and Saul would be refreshed and well, and the evil spirit would depart from him. When Samuel anointed David as the king of Israel, as the next king of Israel, it said that the Spirit of the Lord was with David. So the Spirit of the Lord had already left Saul. Like the Lord was like, Saul, you ain't doing right. But it says that the Lord has sent an evil spirit to terrorize Saul, because listen, Saul wasn't just the nicest person on earth, right? So that's how David ended up meeting Saul, because David was the one who originally David would play the harp for Saul, and it would like calm Saul down, and the spirit would leave him and different things like that. And Saul ended up loving David so much that he made David his armor bearer. So that's basically like chapter 1 Samuel chapter 16. Now chapter 17 is where we actually get to Goliath. So Goliath was like, do you not know that I'm Goliath and y'all are just servants for Saul? Like what is we talking about? Goliath was like, okay, bring out your best soldier, bring out your baddest, okay? And if he can beat me, then we'll become y'all servants. The Philistines will become the servants to Israel. But if we win, then Israel has to become the servants of the Philistines. So go ahead, bring your baddest out, tell them to come on. I want my fade, I want my round, and whoever wins becomes a servant to the other. When Goliath said all that, baby, Israel was just shaking in their boots. They was like, oh. He said he won't want us to come out and fight him. Bro, this man is 9 feet tall. What you mean fight? Which is funny, because it's like, imagine Goliath is 9 feet tall with all this armor on, and he still got a shield bearer, in front of him, like basically somebody that's like got their shield, like yeah, don't touch him. Yeah, you ain't gonna get him. Like, you see, if it was 2025, the YNs would have went ahead and handled that already. But this was 2025. So everybody was shaking in their boots. They was like, baby, who gonna fight him? I got a wife and kids at home. I can't be fighting him. Some people was like, man, I just ain't gonna fight him. Okay, forget a wife and kids. I'm not doing it. So it says, now David was the son of Jesse, and Jesse had 8 sons. The 3 older sons of Jesse had gone after Saul to the battle, and the names of his 3 sons who went to battle were Eliab the firstborn. The second to him was Abinadab, and the third was Shammah. David was the youngest. Now the 3 oldest followed Saul, but David went back and forth from Saul to tend his father's flock at Bethlehem. The Philistine came forward morning and evening for 40 days and took his stand. So for 40 days, Goliath was posted up, like, who finna come, you know what I'm saying? Like, who finna come get me? Who finna come beat me up? I want to see y'all do it. For 40 days. Goliath was standing on that line, standing on the battle line, like, what's up? I'm ready to fight. I want my fade. I want it. Let's go. Let's run it. The Israelites was like, who? They was like, I'm not doing it. Like, you can't pay me. Like, no, you cannot pay me to fight this man. They was like, no, I'm not doing it. So while all of this was going on with Goliath taunting the Israelites and everything like that, David was back at home with his dad Jesse, you know, tending the flock, doing his thing, all of that, right? So Jesse told David, Jesse was like, hey, you know, David, go check on your brothers, bring them this grain, this bread, bring them all of these things, and you know, and just like tell me how they are, like tell me, you know, like give me an update, because you know they at war right now. Go ahead and tell me, you know, how everything is going. So Goliath was coming up to the battle line, like, okay, cool, who ready to fight? Y'all ready to fight yet, or y'all still scared? And David was just like David had just got there, so he like, what? So everybody was basically like trying to fill David in. They was like, have you seen old dude that's trying to come up here and fight? He definitely trying to come up here and defy Israel. Like he trying to lay waste to us. But the king said, you know what I'm saying, that whoever kills him, the king gonna make sure he got money. And the king's gonna let whoever kills Goliath, they gonna let him marry his daughter too. So David was like, okay, so okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, so is that the reward for defeating Goliath? Because he was like, because who is this uncircumcised Philistine thinking he finna come up in here taunting the armies of the living God? Like, because y'all, like, remember, the Spirit of God was on David. Like, he was, so, you know what I'm saying? Like, God and David was like locked in. So David was like, baby, who is this uncircumcised Philistine that's trying to come up in here and taunt the armies of the living God? Of my God? Big G? You trying to taunt his armies? Like, David was like, what's T? Like, I'm chuh. And David was like, I'll fight him. Mind you, right? David is the youngest. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's like, David, baby, what are you even doing here? Okay? David is like, I'll fight him. I ain't scared. Who he think he is? This is the Lord's house. The Lord's people, okay? And this is God's people, okay? That he's talking again. Now, when he's saying that, his older brother Eliab was like, bro, why are you even here? Like, why is you here? Like, what are you doing here? Number one. Second of all, who is tending the sheep back home? You here. So who is doing your work back at home? And third of all, Eliab is like, and I know you. Your insolence and your wickedness, you just came down here to watch the fight. You just came down here to watch the battle and be messy. That's what you came down here for. And David was like, bro, what did I do now? Like, what are you talking about? He was like, what? Because mind you, David didn't even just come out here because he wanted to. His daddy told him to come out here and check on y'all and bring y'all grain and bring y'all bread and bring y'all wine and all this other stuff. So don't be talking to David like that, because David was minding his business back in Bethlehem. Thank you. Like, what? What you talking about? Who you? Eliab. Not too much. If I was David, I would have been like, bruh, first of all, like, what you mad for? Because clearly, Eliab, you weren't the one trying to go fight Goliath. I ain't see you step up to the plate. I ain't see you go walk up to Goliath and be like, yeah, I want my fade. Did you? No, you did not do that. For 40 days, you was over there hiding. For 40 days. So you mind your business. Thank you. Don't be talking to David like that. Don't talk to him like that. David is like, bro, I'm ready to fight. Like, I'll fight him. That's fine. So the servants, they sent word to Saul. They were like, hey, Saul, your homeboy David talking about he finna go up there and fight Goliath. Like, what's up with that? Saul was like, David, you can't fight no Goliath. Saul said, David, you're just a boy. And he's been a warrior since he was a boy. He's been training and fighting and doing this since he was a kid. You are just a kid, David. Like, what you talking about? And David was like, baby, back at home, back in Bethlehem, I was tending to my father's sheep. Whenever a lion or a bear would come and steal the sheep, I would go after that lion and after that bear and get that sheep back. I done killed lions and I done killed bears. And just like I done killed them, I'm going to go kill this uncircumcised Philistine because he been taunting the armies of the Lord. David was like, just like the Lord delivered me from the lion, from the paw of the lion and from the paw of the bear, he's going to deliver me from the hand of this uncircumcised Philistine Goliath. And when I say that, I mean that, and I stand on that. And so I was like, okay, go then. He was like, okay, period. Because David was like, baby, look, I know I'm small, but I'm mighty. Okay, because last time I checked, the Spirit of the Lord was only on one of them, David. So then Saul was like, okay, cool. You want to go fight Goliath? Go fight Goliath. But at least put on this armor to, you know what I'm saying, make sure you properly protected. So David David put on the armor that Saul had gave him, and he was like, bro, I can't fight in this. He was like, I ain't never wore this stuff before in my life. I can't fight in this. So David, he took his slingshot. He took him 5 smooth stones and was like, let's go. Let's bring him out. Bring him out. Rocks. You got rocks and a slingshot, and you about to go fight this man that is 9 feet tall. Ain't no telling how many pounds. Got so much bronze armor on him. You gonna fight him with stones? That's probably how Saul was thinking and how everybody was thinking. So when Goliath saw David walking out with a slingshot and some rocks, he was like, do I look like a dog to you? You pull up to this fight with a slingshot and some rocks? Is you for real? Like is you for real? Cause what we talking about? Goliath is like, bruh, I know this is not who y'all sent out here to fight me. A little boy, not even a man, a little boy with a slingshot and some rocks. Israel be so for real. Like what? What are we talking about? Like I just know Goliath was like, huh? Y'all can't think y'all finna win this fight. That's what he wanted you to think. So Goliath was like, baby, come on, cause I'm gonna give you your flesh. Okay, your dead body, I'm gonna feed that to the birds and to the beasts of this field. I'm about to lay you down. David was like, you may have a spear, you may have a sword, you may have a javelin, but I come in the name of the Lord. Okay, the Lord of hosts, God of Israel. The same Israel that you taunted, I come in the name of their God. He said, this day the Lord is going to deliver you into my hands, meaning I'm going to win this fight. And not only am I going to win this fight, but I am also going to remove your head from you. I'm going to chop your head off. Feed the flesh of the Philistine army. I'm going to feed their flesh to the birds and to the beasts of the earth. And everybody going to know that there's a God in Israel. He doesn't, like, he don't need no swords. He don't need no spears. He don't need no javelins. The battle is his, and he's gonna give y'all over to our hands, meaning we gonna win the fight. Yeah. Come on, David. Talk that talk. Talk that talk. Do this. Yeah, you know what? Yeah. David said all of that and stood on all of that, and he meant all of that, and all of that came true. And David won. Like everybody knows that David won, but if you didn't know how he won, I'm gonna go ahead and read it. I'm gonna still read it for you. And David put his hand into his bag and took from it a stone and slung it and struck Goliath on his forehead, and the stone sank into his forehead so that he fell face to the ground. Thus David had prevailed over the Philistine with the sling and the stone, and he struck the Philistine and killed him, but there was no sword in David's hand. Then David ran and stood over the Philistine and took his sword. He took Goliath's sword out of its sheath and killed him and cut his head off with it. You know how gangster you gotta be to kill somebody, but then also you take, like, you know how much of a G you gotta be. Okay, you kill somebody, but then you kill somebody with their sword, and then you chop their head off with their sword. Like, hello? Did y'all know that David was not cut from the same cloth? Eliab ain't do that. Shammah ain't do that. Abinadab ain't do that. You know how much of a G you gotta be to kill somebody. But then, to chop their own head off with their sword. Imagine. Just imagine. That's crazy. That's bonkers. That is insanity. So Saul had heard, you know what I'm saying, that David won, and he was like, Saul had asked Abner, he was like, bro, whose son is this? And Abner was like, bro, I don't know. Saul was like, find out for me. So Abner, he went to go get David, and he was like, he brought him back to Saul. Whole time, David still had Goliath's head in his hand. Like, David is still walking around with this man's head in his hand. Like, David was like, oh, I'm gonna let, like, everybody is gonna know. Big G did this. God of Israel. Okay? Yeah. Saul was like, whose son are you? And David was like, the son of Jesse. The son of Jesse, the Bethlehemite. Yeah, that's my daddy. Like, period. Okay? Period. I love this story because it's just like, it can be interpreted, and it can be interpreted in a lot of ways, but at the end of the day, like, it still has a, you know what I'm saying? Like, whether your Goliath is like a physical person, or whether your Goliath is like sin, or whether your Goliath is like a situation, it don't matter. It don't matter. When God himself says, oh yeah, you gonna be who you gonna be, can't nobody tell you nothing. Can't nobody say otherwise. Cause the Lord gets the final word. I get the last word every time. So it's like, whether your Goliath is a person, a situation, a sin, whatever the case may be, honey, remember who you are. Okay? Remember the God that you serve. Okay? David said, just like my God delivered me from the paw of the lion, from the paw of the bear, he will deliver me from the hand of this Philistine. And everybody will know that there's a God in Israel, and he does not come by, like, he doesn't have to have swords and javelins and stuff like that. The battle is his. And last time I checked, the Lord ain't never lost no battle, and he ain't gonna lose nobody. He don't plan, like, what? Saul ended up having beef with David because of that. Because when, you know what I'm saying, like, when David, he came back to the city, you know what I'm saying, and the women was like, David, he killed 10,000. And Saul was mad because they were like, Saul, he slain thousands, David slayed 10,000. Saul, he slayed thousands, David slayed 10,000. Like, they had made a whole song about it. And, David was in a circle like, hey. And Saul was just like, on the sideline. So Saul ended up having beef with David after that. But that's a whole other story, because baby Saul was going crazy. We can talk about that next week. Okay? Period. My message, all I got to say is, remember, it don't matter who your Goliath is, or how big your Goliath is, or what your Goliath is. It don't matter, none of that. At the end of the day, it's not your battle. The battle is the Lord's. Okay? And just like David said, just like he delivered him from the lion and the tiger and the bear and the whatever, the lion and the bear, just like David was delivered from that, he was delivered from Philistine, because he already knew who his God was. He already knew what his God could do. Okay? So take a page out of David's book. Okay? Don't let nobody be like, oh, you too small. Oh, you just a shepherd. Oh, you just unqualified. You just this, that. Baby, to tell them to mind their business. For anybody who want it, get it. Let nobody tell you who you are, because people gonna tell you, they're gonna try to tell you who you are in a way to keep you down and keep you there. Because they kept thinking of him as little David, he just a shepherd. He young, he handsome, but he just a young little shepherd. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, he had the courage that nobody else had. All the big man team, he had the courage that ain't none of them have. So what? So what do we learn? To not let anybody tell us who we are, but let the Lord tell us who we are. Let God himself tell us who we are. But that's it for this story time. Next week we're going to talk about Saul, because Saul, he did get jealous because of David. You know what I'm saying? He was jealous of David, so he tried it. You know what I'm saying? He was trying to David multiple times, mind you, multiple times. So we're going to get into that next week. So don't forget to like, share, subscribe, turn on my post notifications so you can know when the next video comes out. Follow me on all of my social medias. And yeah, thank you for watching. Mi amore. I'm going to see you in my next video, okay? Peace.